now, right 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 now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. They always have been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show. We bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the massive crash that has occurred in recent history on Bitcoin. Over the last 48 hours, Bitcoin has dropped down to a new local bottom of around $82,000. And today, we're going to be talking about whether or not that was the bottom. We're going to be talking about where the bottom may be for Bitcoin. And we're also going to be looking at some altcoins. Many of you guys have been begging me to take a look at some of the alts. Since the alts are getting eviscerated right now, I figured we'd take a look at the charts of some of your major favorite holdings like Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. So we're going to be looking at those different charts today, gaining a sense of understanding about not only where Bitcoin is, but where Bitcoin is going to go. I am your host, Jeb McAfee. I love being here with you guys and working with you guys, helping you guys to understand how to succeed in the cryptocurrency space. So, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. We've got a couple of members in chat that we want to read and give a shout out to. Joe Bollier's in chat, said, "Good morning, Jeb." Good morning to you, Joe Bollier. Callum Brown said, "Good afternoon from England, Jeb." Good afternoon, my friends. Daniel Stewart is in chat. Micah Mann said, "Good morning. Glad you're back. Insight on the crash." Yeah, a lot of this crash is happening because of the trade war. If you have not been following American and geopolitics, then you won't know what's going on here. We talk about geopolitics and American politics quite a bit here on the channel. I try and stay as unbiased as I can, except for in the places where it's just absolutely kind of a one-sided issue where one is evil and one is good. I'm an outspoken capitalist, for example. I firmly believe in the tenets of capitalism. I firmly believe that communism is evil. So we talk about different concepts like that. And one of the things that we've got to keep in mind is that this trade war was always going to halt the economy briefly. We were always going to have a major stalling in the United States stock market's growth when these tariffs started coming out, because theoretically they are going to likely lead to inflation, which is going to be an issue for Trump's popularity because he promised to get inflation under control and get interest rates lowered in the short term after he was elected, which does not jive very well with the first 18 to 24 months effect of new tariffs, which generally lead to increased prices because those companies have to recuperate the money that they're spending on the tariff somehow. So typically they just increase prices while they're building a factory stateside to not have to pay the tariff. Nevertheless, this, unsurprisingly, is having an impact on the Bitcoin market, and it has led to this major crash. Just yesterday, we had an announcement that Donald Trump's executive branch is now putting 25% tariffs on all imports from the European Union. We've also got the tariffs for 25% on Canada and Mexico that in, I think, about April 11th, April 2nd, somewhere in early April, are going to renew. They were put off for about 60 to 90 days after we had reached a deal with Canada and Mexico on immigration and on border control, but that was a temporary pause. We don't know if those pauses are going to be continued or not, and so a major correction is happening right now on the Bitcoin market because of those major political events. They are headwinds for the entire global economy, and as we know, Bitcoin treats itself as a risk, or excuse me, the market treats Bitcoin itself as a risk-on asset. Typically, people are only investing in Bitcoin when they believe that the stock market is doing well. Much of that has to do with the youngness, with the novelty that Bitcoin has about it. Bitcoin is seen as a very young space. We've only got about 3% global adoption. That's where the internet was in 93, 94, somewhere in there. That's where social media was in 05. That was like back during the era of MySpace being a new thing. That's where Bitcoin is right now on the scale of mass adoption. All of those technologies, internet, social media, etc., typically have about ubiquitous use in the first world, and Bitcoin will eventually get there most likely as well, or at least a large plurality of use, but we're not there yet. And so Bitcoin is viewed as a risk on asset, whereas gold is viewed as a risk-off asset. So gold's been doing very well as the stock market's been kind of trading sideways here. We've seen a drop on Bitcoin, and that's largely because of geopolitics that are outside of Bitcoin's control, but it won't always be that way. We're going to continue to see that trend inverse, where eventually, as Bitcoin becomes a more widely adopted commodity for store of value purposes, we will start to see Bitcoin performing well when the stock market crashes, and the stock market will begin to be viewed as risk on, and Bitcoin will begin to be viewed as risk off. We just need to give it another decade or two, and Bitcoin will be firmly entrenched in our society. And when people are looking to store wealth into the future, they will do so in Bitcoin. Evelis Diaz in chat, long-time subscriber to the channel. Good to see you there, my friend. Is it just me, or is there some lagging going on? It looks like there's lag on my end. I can see some in my review of the video. I can't tell if that's my internet with the playback. Just go ahead and tell me if you guys are seeing any issues with that. Daniel V's in chat. Cool Winder is in chat. Steady Bug said, "You were right, Jeb. Super cycle. The gains have been amazing. What a bull run." Yeah, I know, right? I caught the sarcasm there, my friend. Look, we've got to have patience. Every bull market goes through major corrections. And in fact, the video that's going to be going out here at about 2 p.m. today is going to be going over just that. You're not going to want to miss it, because we're going to look at some of the massive crashes that Bitcoin has witnessed in its history to show you that this is nothing out of the blue. This is nothing abnormal. In fact, in the last 7 years, 7.5, heck, almost 8 years I've been in crypto now, we have seen this happen no less than a dozen times. A 30%, 35, almost 40% crash. Until we start dropping more than 40% from all-time high, I am in no way, shape, or form at all concerned about this bull market. We are in phenomenal shape. Cannot wait to see what's next for Bitcoin. Rob Figulski, it's a cool name, said, "Why did my question get deleted?" I don't know. I did not see a question. Don't know. Kryptoni said, "Always here, brother. Let's go." Absolutely. Hope all's are well with you. We're doing good. All right, let's do it. We got a lot to cover. Real quick, before we jump into it, I want to let you know today's stream is brought to you in part by our very own Financial Sovereignty Academy. Over in the FinSov Academy, we are going to teach you everything that you need to know about how to get rid of the chaos in your life, ditch the debt that is holding you back, build riches and turn them into wealth so that you can actually enjoy the life that you live. Bunch of new content going into FinSov Academy lately. We've got our first video here. It's been out for a while. Scorched Earth Tactics. Maintain a written plan for your budget. Save $2,500 starter emergency fund. Declare war on debt. Save a fully funded 3 to 6 month emergency fund. The war on debt and the 3 to 6 month emergency fund. These videos have just gone live in the last couple of days. We are also seeing week 7 coming out next week. Week 8 will be coming out the week after. I am shooting week 9 this afternoon. So here in a month or so, when that video comes out, you will see me in this blue shirt in that video, because I will be shooting that this afternoon. Just scripted that. A lot of great fun jokes in that video. Cannot wait for you to see it. And I'm also currently right now working on scripting week 10, and we've got a bunch of other videos. You can see all these other videos that we have planned going into here. You can see our change log here for February the 26th. Every month or so, we post a change log to let you know about some of the things that have happened recently. One thing that you need to know is that on Tuesday of next week, so that's about 5 days from now, the price of FinSov Academy will be increasing from $99 a year to $104 per year. If you get FinSov Academy right now, you can lock in at a $99 a year price, and you will never have that price change so long as you, my friend, stay signed up. If you cancel and re-sign up later, then of course you will lose that early bird pricing, if you will. We never discount FinSov Academy, because I could charge 10 times as much, and I'm not going to discount it any farther because it wouldn't make sense. But we will increase the price one time a year in Q1 to adjust for inflation and to adjust for the Academy growing. Every year it's going to be better than it was before. We've got community features that are coming. We're going to be doing live streams. We've got a bunch of stuff that's planned, a lot of stuff that's coming. Right now we're dumping a ton of videos into the Academy. So that price will be increasing $99 a year to $104 a year on Tuesday. So sign up before Tuesday. That will not be extended. We're not doing any flash sales. None of that. All that's gone. We know our value. This is worth it. Sign up. Learn how to succeed with money in cryptocurrency and in every area of your life. Let's do this. I'm so excited to be here today. Bitcoin is currently trading at $85,000. We are down $500 billion on Bitcoin alone from the all-time high. Not quite half a trillion, actually about 1/3 of a trillion. We hit a $2 trillion market capitalization inflation here on here just right around the inauguration of President Donald Trump. That $2 trillion market cap proved to be our all-time high. This market cap is the reason that Bitcoin has rejected. We hit $2 trillion. Are we really surprised that breaking through $2 trillion was going to be difficult? I think something that we need to remember is the last bull market was characterized by a top at $1 trillion and then at $1,250 billion. You've got to think like the rich here for a second. Let's back up. Let's quit thinking like the small fries. Let's quit thinking like the small fish. There are a lot of people on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. There are a lot of people on X that all they talk about is meme coins. Either one, they're trying to sell you some course buying the next meme coin. Us, we sell you tried and true wisdom that has been accurate and useful since the dawn of mankind. A lot of people are trying to sell you a course on how to scalp the next meme coin, get in on Donald Trump meme coin before it crashes, which it did. That's not what we're doing. The other side of people are the people that they spend their whole time dunking on the meme coins. That's all we talk about. What the big fish are talking about is not meme coins. They're not thinking about meme coins unless they're launching it and rugging people. They're not thinking about meme coins. They're looking at data. They're looking at numbers. They are being scientific about this, and they're not just looking at the price, because the price is relevant. If you look at the resistance, it's relevant. There's all kinds of things. But what people are actually looking at a lot of times is the market cap. A lot of these bigger whales, they're looking at market cap, and they're looking at that as the levels of resistance. So when we hit $109,000, people are like, oh my gosh, why was $109,000 the resistance? That's kind of a strange level. Well, it's because for the entirety of December and January, and even, December and January, we were hitting our head on $2 trillion resistance, and we didn't break it. And so far, we've fallen by $300 billion. Is that a bad thing? No. Is it something we should be scared of? Absolutely not. Is it to be expected? Yes, of course it is. We've had a massive rally. Bitcoin rallied in the span of 18 to 24 months from $300 billion in market cap, breaking through $1.5 trillion market cap all the way up to $2 trillion market cap. This is the most significant rally that Bitcoin has witnessed in history. We were always going to need to have some correction. And so when we start asking ourselves the question, why did Bitcoin drop down to $82,000, $84,000, depending on the chart you look at? Why did Bitcoin do that? Why did it drop down to $82,000? Well, the answer becomes just shockingly clear. If you're enjoying today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Help support the channel, and we help to support you, so that's a good reason to subscribe. The reason that Bitcoin dropped here becomes shockingly clear. We rejected off of $2 trillion, and when you get rejected, it hurts. And the scale of the rejection typically leads you to understand the scale of the pain. Think about it like this. Let's say you lose a loved one. Depending on how close you are to them, it's going to kind of dictate how hard it is for you. You know, this is nothing related to that as far as severity. Obviously, that's a much more serious case than Bitcoin dropping, but you can kind of think about it a little bit like this. The harder it is, let's say you have a dog and you just love that dog. Oh my gosh, you've had this dog for 13 years, you love this dog, and then the dog dies. That's going to be really hard. That you're going to feel really, really, really terrible. And so the stronger the bond, the bigger the pain. In our case, the stronger the resistance that you get rejected from, the larger the crash. I know I'm the king of weird analogies, and I want to be sensitive here, right? The bigger the resistance that you reject from, the harder the crash. It makes sense. Bitcoin needed to have a large correction following the rejection at $2 trillion market cap. We went into this sideways pennant right here. We fell below it, which we knew was going to happen. We had a good feeling that was going to happen. 20 crossed below the 100. We had this rejection here at the 20 EMA. Again, we've got a lot of other bearish technicals going on that we're talking about in today's video that's going out, tomorrow's video that's going out. And in general, we just have a very much a time where we need to consolidate and correct following this massive rally that we've witnessed. So was $82,000 surprising? No. What was surprising to me? What was surprising to me is that we hovered there. And that kind of tells me one of two things. Either one, we're not done, or two, Bitcoin is so freaking bullish that you'd be a moron for not buying right now. So let's unpack that. You're probably not going to hear this angle anywhere else on YouTube today because it's not something that people are typically looking at. Most people that are bringing you news in cryptocurrency are not bringing you the charts. We do talk about the news. In fact, we talk quite a lot about the news and the fundamentals and the big picture, but something that people are typically not thinking as much about is the technicals, right? There's no support here. There is no logical reason that Bitcoin should have found support at $81,000. The only thing that you could maybe say is that it's the 0.382 Fibonacci level, which is roughly at $80,000, which is the inverse of phi, which is 0.618, so 0.382 is an important level. You could possibly make that case that we found support here, depending on how you draw the bottom, at $80,000 to $82,000. And frankly, that probably is why we bounced here, because there's literally no other explanation for why this level is here. But I think that's a weak case because most people don't know that Fibonacci level is there. Most people know that $73,800 is there because it was our all-time high for 7 months. Most people know that $88,000 is there because it was the local bottom of our current range, of the former range up until a few days ago, right? Most people are not going to see that Fibonacci level. So technically speaking, it does matter, and it is good that Bitcoin is holding the 0.382 Fibonacci level. It's a good sign. It's a very, very, very good sign, actually. And it is also pretty much exactly what we did during the last correction. We dropped down to the 0.382 Fibonacci level. That being said, there's nothing else there. If you remember to a couple of days ago, I don't remember if it was in a stream or one of our videos, we talked about how if Bitcoin falls down here below $88,000, this was before it fell below $88,000, we were calling for it to, but before it did, if we fall below $88,000, which we ended up doing, which we expected we would, but we don't fall all the way down to $73,800, then that gives us a lot of very important information. And specifically, what it tells us is that Bitcoin is extraordinarily bullish. Extraordinarily bullish. Jeb, you're a moron. Bitcoin just dropped $27,000, and you're saying it's extraordinarily bullish. You permabull. Oh my gosh, Jeb, you're so dogmatic. You only think about the bullish side. You can't stop shilling Bitcoin. Yeah, you're right, I can't. I love Bitcoin. But there's a reason I love Bitcoin, because I've done my research on it, and I've been here for almost a decade teaching you guys how to do the same. I'm not being biased here. I just understand the way the market works. There's no discernible, logical reason other than one technical that would explain why Bitcoin is bouncing at $82,000. When a market falls, goes into free fall, and then hovers above the ground, you know something's going on. If I were to throw you off a bridge and you were to sit there and hover 10 feet above the ground, you would know there's some kind of alien technology at work, right? You would know something funky's going on. It's not how that normally works. Bitcoin works much the same. Typically, when it jumps off a cliff, it hits the ground. And the ground for us on VRVP is at $73,800. So what gives? Why didn't we bounce? Well, because we do have some kind of levitation. We do have some kind of alien technology, if you will. And it's the underlying intrinsic value of Bitcoin. It is the fundamental bullishness of the space. We have been pushed to the downside because of a trade war. We've been pushed to the downside because of tariffs. We've been pushed to the downside because of the stalling of the United States S&P 500 and the correction on the United States S&P 500. If you'll notice, these things have an impact on Bitcoin, but none of them have anything to do with Bitcoin. The only thing bearish going on with Bitcoin right now is that several states have rejected, and I did fact check this, 5 states have rejected their respective Bitcoin strategic Bitcoin reserve legislations. Wyoming, which was an ironic one because Cynthia Loomis is from Wyoming, but North Dakota, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, and I'm forgetting one, North Carolina, I think, have rejected their strategic Bitcoin reserve bills. That's the only thing that we're seeing happen right now on Bitcoin, specifically in Bitcoin, that's bearish. And it's really not that big of a concern. There's like 15 other states that are working on it, and so what that it got rejected the first time? Most new technologies do. That's kind of how it works. We're hovering here because the fundamentals of Bitcoin are ridiculously strong, and we're being held down by FUD coming from American politics and coming from geopolitics. We are getting secondhand smoke from the trade war that's going on between the United States and, I don't know, the whole rest of the world right now. But that's not going to impact Bitcoin forever, because guess what's going to happen? People are getting... The stock market does not trade sideways for very long. If you've never noticed, the S&P 500 doesn't sit sideways for very long. It just doesn't really do that. It's not something that the S&P 500 is built for. It grows. That's kind of what it does. So either S&P 500, because of this trade war, is going to go into a massive tailspin and we're going to crash down to 550 or something, or we're going to break resistance at 613 and we're going to keep moving despite inflation that might come. And when that happens, you're going to see the same thing happen to Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't trade sideways. It trades sideways a lot more than the stock market sometimes, but typically you've got some kind of discernible range. We're hovering here because the bullishness that we were feeling 2 months ago didn't leave. People just got paper hands because they got scared about Trump. That's not a good enough reason to enter into a bear market. Bitcoin's not going into a bear market. The fact that we're hovering here and we didn't crash down to $73,800 is proof of that. If we do crash down to $73,800, good. This is basically a situation of good and better. If we bounce here, better, because it shows that the bulls are ridiculously strong. We literally just made up a support level. And if you want to say we didn't make up a support level, then you could say that we're following through the exact same market structure that we did last time. Oh, boo-hoo. Last time, when we fell down to that level at the 0.382 level at $48,000, Bitcoin would go on to rally $60,000, 120%. If we were to do that again, we'd rally to $133,000 to $163,000. Don't believe me? Just watch. If we were to do exactly what we did, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It would not be $133,000. It'd be $143,000. And then 120% would be $100,000 rally to $180,000. If we hover here, better, because we're repeating the same market structure that we did here, and this $82,000 is our $47,000 back here, which would make this $109,000, that $180,000. You can see how the market would repeat itself. It looked like that. And, it's still good if Bitcoin drops down to $73,800, because then we get the same market, the same correction depth that we got in the last correction. We get a 32% correction. And then the same thing plays out. Well, guess what happened after we did that last time when the fundamentals were looking really good as they do right now? We rallied $60,000, 120%. Okay, bounce 60K off of 73. Then what do you get? You get $133,000. That's where that number came from earlier. Forgive me, misspeak. If we rally 120%, instead of just $60,000, we rally to 162 grand. So you're looking at $133,000 to $182,000, no matter where Bitcoin bounces, just with the bottom that we've already seen. So why are we so afraid? This is something that we're going to be covering in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But I'll tell you exactly why we're so afraid. The reason that you might be afraid, and I say we, I'm not to throw you out the window and throw you under the bus, but I'm not afraid, so I suppose I shouldn't lump myself in with that. The reason that you're getting so afraid and that people are getting so afraid is very simply, you've done something foolish. You've done something foolish. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 26. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. What happens to a fool? Well, after wisdom shouts from the rooftops, begging you to listen to her, Lady Wisdom shouts from the rooftops, listen to me! I have the answers to life! And you say, up yours, I'm going to do it my own way. And you skip down to verse 26 in the first chapter of the book of Proverbs, which I memorized because it's such an important piece of literary art. I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, then shall they seek me, but they shall not find me, for that they hated the fear of the Lord and would not hear instruction. Your foolishness will lead to your destruction. So why are you afraid? Because you may have made a foolish decision and your soul, not your mind, not up here, because you rationalize it in here, but your soul understands how this work is trying to get your mind and your heart to get it, but your soul gets it intrinsically because it's connected into the reality of wisdom. Your soul sees your foolish decision is going to lead to your destruction. It sees, to use the Bible's terms, your foolishness is going to lead to calamity. It's going to lead to destruction. It's going to lead to fear. And so if you're afraid right now, what most people in cryptocurrency will tell you is ignore the emotions. That is the biggest load of crap advice I have ever heard in my entire freaking life. That is the dumbest thing you could possibly do. I don't think there's anything more stupid that you could do in investment than to ignore your fear, your uncertainty, your doubt, your FOMO, your fear of missing out, your excitement, your joy, your happiness. I don't think there's a single thing more idiotic than you could do in the cryptocurrency space, in investment, in anything to do with money, than to turn the human side of you off and become an artificial intelligence that only deals in logic. If that's what you want to do, then go hire Grok to manage your portfolio. You were given emotions for a reason. There is a reason that we feel fear. There's a reason that we feel uncertain. And there is a reason that we feel doubt. And if you're feeling those emotions right now, instead of putting them in a nice little box and throwing the key away, why don't you ask the question, why? Toyota Motor Manufacturing Corporation, the parent company of Toyota, have a process that they use in their education. Toyota has one of the most sophisticated systems for teaching new leaders in any company and anywhere in the world. And one of the tools that they use that I love and that I use all the time is called the 5 Whys. Why? We were supposed to make 1,100 cars this month. We made 700. Why? Well, because the machine broke down. Why? Well, because some idiot smacked it with a wrench. Why? Well, because he wasn't trained well. Why? Well, we should have never hired him in the first place, to be totally honest with you. He's got have you seen his track record? Why did we hire him? Well, because our hiring process didn't do background checks. Why? Well, because we didn't have enough accountability over the hiring process to make sure a background check was done on the guy, so we didn't smack the machine with a wrench, break the machine, and then we're down 400 cars. Well, why? Oh, shoot, we suck at accountability here. We need to fire that dude. We need to fix the process, and anybody who stands in the way, we're going to fire them too. That's why. So I just made that example up, but in your mind, you need to ask yourself the question, why am I afraid? Why am I fearful right now? Why am I so terrified about Bitcoin crashing when the technicals that Jeb just showed me make a lot of sense? The logic in it, when you dig into the logic, actually makes a lot of sense. So why are you so afraid? Is it because you're over leveraged? And you're just a couple $1,000s away from getting liquidated? That one's pretty obvious. You could probably figure out the why on that one. You probably only need one why, not 5 or 6. Is it because you have a bunch of debt? Coming from someone who at one point had basically nothing, having debt and having no money will make just about everything you do in business less successful. We sit on a pile of cash. I sit on so much cash. A lot of financial advisors would tell me I'm a fool for how much cash I sit on. Jeb, you ought to deploy that in the market. You specialize in investment. You could get a return on that. I could. I sit on a hoard of cash. Proportional to our net worth, right now, if I were to guess, not guess, but if I were to look, I'd say about 35 to 40% of our net worth is sitting in cash right now. And the reason for that is because it allows me to be what most people would consider to be reckless. If Bitcoin drops down to $82,000, boom, if I want to, I could just go buy $15,000 of it. If Bitcoin drops down to $73,800, boom, I could just go buy a whole coin. And it also allows me to say, I can make a business decision, like launching FinSov Academy at $99 a year, that ain't gonna make nothing compared to what we do with a lot of our different sponsors, because I don't need the money. I've got a pile of cash. I can go do something that I know my heart's in because I know it'll be 100 times bigger in the long run. But right now, it's not making a whole bunch of money because that's not the point. I'm not trying to milk you dry of money. $99 a year, I'm making nothing on you guys signing up for FinSov Academy. I'm doing it for you. It ain't about money for me. One day it'll make a lot of money. Right now, I ain't making squat. You guys are signing up by the dozens. It's only a few $1,000s. That's pennies to me, right? So when you have a pile of cash, when you have no debt, when you have financial stability, it removes the fear and it allows you to make a different decision. It allows you to listen to your heart and say, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Because I can do that because I don't have to worry about whether or not there's food on the table next month. And so if you're afraid right now, you need to start asking yourself questions like, why? Why am I afraid? Oh, well, I'm afraid because if Bitcoin drops farther, my net worth's going to go down. Well, yeah, it will, but Jeb's net worth will go down too if his investments go down. He's not afraid. Why? Why am I afraid? Well, maybe there's a lot of reasons why you're afraid. Maybe you have an inordinate amount of your self-esteem locked up in what your net worth is. That's very common in cryptocurrency. A lot of you guys determine whether or not you are valuable as a human being based on how many commas you have. Stop doing that. If you do that to a woman, she's going to say you're objectifying her. You know why? Because you are. So quit objectifying yourself. Your value doesn't just come from how rich you are. Good God. Your value comes from the fact that you're made in the image of God. Maybe you need to fix that. Maybe you need to say, my net worth goes down 10% because the market went down 10%. Whatever. It'll go back up. It's not the investment. It's just the season. It'll go back up. I'll use this as a buying opportunity, dump more cash in. Okay, clear that one up. Now my net worth isn't locked into my portfolio. Cool. Okay, well, why? Why am I still afraid? Okay, well, maybe it's because I've got half my investment in meme coins. Well, maybe you need to pay the stupid tax, sell those, and not ever do that again. Okay, let's not say that. Let's say the market has crashed as it has right now, and you're afraid. And you say, why? Why am I afraid? Maybe it's because you have and I did a coaching call with somebody in this position. Love you, dude. Not gonna say the name. Great call, but I'm gonna pick on you a little bit. Guy's got 2 cars in the front yard. One's worth $90,000, got an $80,000 loan on. The other one's worth about $180,000, got a $140,000 loan on it, something like that. You know, cumulatively, it was just shy of $250,000 worth of cars, about $200,000 worth of debt, something like that. Guy's making $250,000 a year. Good income, very wealthy income, making a lot of money. You know what I told him to do? I said, you need to go pick one of those cars that you really love. You need to sell the other one, use the cash, and pay off the one you like. He said, why? I said, because you can't focus. All you've been talking to me about for the last 10 minutes is the debt on these cars. You're a very talented entrepreneur. And you can't focus on being an entrepreneur because you're focused on how much money you owe the car company, the car loan company. You need to sell one of them. Go quadruple your income, then buy 5 of them in cash if you're a car guy. You're distracted. Why am I scared about the net worth going down? Because I don't know whether or not it's going to mean that I can't pay off the car when I want to, right? Why are you afraid? Jeb, get back to the chart. Dude, we've been doing the chart for the last 7 years. Shall I take you, my student, back over addition? Shall I take you, my Padawan, back over PEMDAS? Shall we keep doing our fractions? Or shall we move up to higher concepts? This is not all about indicators. This is about actually succeeding. We're going to do technical analysis when necessary. Obviously, you've got to do addition and subtraction if you're doing math. But guys, we're doing trigonometry here. We're doing calculus. More importantly, we're doing human things here. We're doing things that are human here. We're dealing with the reason that you're succeeding and not. And one of the main reasons that you're not succeeding is because every time Bitcoin flinches, you die inside a little. I see it all over X. People that you and I respect on Twitter, big names, are complaining and whining like a little baby that the market's down. Do you believe in Bitcoin or not? It's time for a wake-up call, crypto. Do you believe in Bitcoin or not? Are you over-leveraged or not? Are you in too much debt or not? I'm not afraid, not because I've stuffed my emotions down into a little box, thrown away the key. I'm not afraid because we don't have consumer debt. I'm not afraid because I've worked very hard and made wise decisions for years now, and we're sitting on a pile of our good decisions and on a pile of mistakes that we learned how not to make that same mistake again. We're sitting on cash that, again, we've worked very hard to acquire. We're sitting in an area where we know what we're doing because we've done the research and we've accrued the wisdom. We're sitting in an area where we're humble enough to ask questions when we don't know what's going on. And so I'm not afraid because I have something that is 6 letters, and it's the bridge that crosses the chasm between fear and fulfillment, between terror and terrific results. And it's a 6-letter bridge. It's spelled WISDOM, wisdom. We have acquired enough wisdom and done enough things that are wise that we don't have to be afraid of this market. And so I would encourage you to do the exact same thing. Why is the market dropping right now? That's a question of technical analysis. Why are you afraid and why are you not prospering in the market right now is a question that revolves entirely around you and how you look at the market. No shame. No judgment. I'm not angry at any of you guys. Stop yelling at us. I'm not really trying to yell at you. The point I'm making here is that there's a better way. There's a better way to go about this. I am a financial coach at my core. I help people succeed with money. That's what I do. We do that mostly through cryptocurrency right now, but that's at my core, in my heart, in my spirit, in my being. That's my calling, to be a financial coach, to help people succeed with money. I'm not a financial advisor because I'm not a math geek who only wants to deal with the money and the numbers. I'm a financial coach because I am a human and a math geek, and I like dealing with the numbers, but I also like dealing with the spirit. That's why I don't want to be a financial advisor. Jab, why don't you go get your CPA? I've thought about it. I don't want it because that's not my calling. I'm not called to be a CPA. I'm not called to be a financial advisor. I'm not called to do stock picks for you. I am called by God, and I know that is confirmed in my spirit and with many years of prayer and experience, to help you guys understand what it takes on a personal and a spiritual and also on a technical and fundamental and logical level to succeed with money and have a good life. That is my calling in life, right after serving my family and loving them. And that's what I'm here to do today. And so if you're scared of this drop, I challenge you, do some digging, start writing, get out a journal, organize your thoughts. Watch this video again. Ask yourself, why am I afraid? And then you're going to say, well, because and then the surface level reason, which is probably as deep as your thinking has gone up until this point, unless you actually intentionally dug into it, is going to come. Why am I afraid? Well, my net worth might go down. Okay, yeah, but what's the problem with that? Well, you probably haven't gone that far. You probably asked one why. You probably haven't asked five. Why am I afraid right now? Oh, my net worth's going to go down. Well, why do you care? Well, what do you mean, why do I care? Of course I should care. Yeah, of course you should care, but why do you care? Have a just and ready defense for everything you believe. Why do you care if your net worth goes down? Seriously, why does that matter? Oh, if my net worth goes down, then I won't be able to feed my family. Wait a minute. You were planning on feeding your family with the Bitcoin that you bought and you said you were going to hold for 15 years. You're going to plan on feeding them next year with that Bitcoin? What the heck? That's not, no, you weren't. You were? That's logically inconsistent. You said you were going to hold your Bitcoin for 15 years. What do you mean you can't feed your family tomorrow? I didn't know you were selling Bitcoin to feed your family. You got an income issue. Okay, so if it's not that I can't feed my family, then you might need to ask yourself, well, if my net worth goes down, then I don't have the Bitcoin there to cover me in case my bad behavior at work gets me fired. Okay, I get it now. Why are you scared of Bitcoin going down? Because you suck at your job. You're not diligent. You don't get up early enough. You don't show up on time. You're disrespectful to your boss, and you figure eventually that's going to catch up with you. You're going to lose your job because you're a fool, and you're hoping that Bitcoin will solve that problem for you. You're not afraid of Bitcoin going down. You're afraid of being exposed for being a bad employee and getting fired. That's why you're afraid. And it's manifesting itself as a fear of a drop. It's manifesting itself as a fear of a crash. And you got to work on that. You have to shore up every area of your life. Make no mistake, the fear of the Lord, which is basically just another way of saying Christ's righteousness, is the beginning of understanding, and we know that understanding is the beginning of wisdom. So if there's somewhere in your life that you feel convicted and you're like, I'm not doing something right, that is going to express itself as fear somewhere else in your life. So do what you need to do to fix it. Cool? Cool. Let's talk a little bit about some altcoins. Ethereum. It's in the gutter. Why are we so scared of Ethereum right now? Let's go back to basics. Why are we scared of Ethereum right now? Well, the reason we're scared of Ethereum right now, at least for me, the reason that I'm a little bit worried about Ethereum right now, not worried about Bitcoin at all. The reason I'm a little bit worried about Ethereum right now is Ethereum is kind of getting beat at its own game by Solana. Solana's breached all-time high by a country mile. So is Bitcoin. Ethereum has not. Kind of hurts. Kind of concerning. Not currently putting any more money into Ethereum. I'm not very happy with it. Why am I worried about Ethereum? Well, quite simply, I'm not as confident in the growth of the project as I used to be. Why am I not as confident in the growth of the project as I used to be? All right, let's fix that framing there. I'm not as confident in the growth of the project as I used to be because the growth on its competitors is far outstripping Ethereum. Okay, well, now if I understand why I'm worried about Ethereum, then, and I understand that on a deep level, then it allows me to make good decisions. If we're worried about Ethereum and we're afraid of Ethereum, then instead of ignoring that emotion and then just aping into more of it when we think there might actually be a serious cause for concern with the investment, then because we've dug into why we're afraid, instead of just ignoring it, then we can start saying, all right, well, is that a valid reason? Is it valid that we're worried about Ethereum? Yeah, it is. It's not doing very well. Not happy with it at all. It's at less than half of its previous all-time high. Bitcoin is $20,000 above its previous all-time high. Solana is almost double its previous all-time high. So what should we do about this? In my opinion, it may be time to start scaling into its competitors more so. So because I listened to my fear and I understood my fear, I'm able to potentially make a wise decision. Because the emotion reveals the logic. They work together. God created logic and emotion to work together. Have you ever noticed your wife is very emotional and you're very logical? God intended for the two to operate in tandem. Your wife's afraid. Be quiet, woman. Go in the closet. Or, yeah, honey, why are you afraid? Huh? What's that all about? What's going on? What's going on? You okay? You all right? Yeah, I think there's a bear over there. It's going to eat us. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's make the logical decision. Let's leave. But what most of you guys do is fear is your wife, right? Fear is your wife. Fear speaks up and says, I think there's something wrong, honey. And instead of being a good husband and listening to your wife, you throw her in the closet and you lock the door and you say bye. Because, I'm not going to listen to my emotions. That's why most people that say that don't have a wife. They're not married. And they're single and they're lonely and they're bored. Because they think that ignoring emotions is a good idea. It's not. You need to listen to it because normally the emotion reveals the logic. If we ask ourselves, why am I afraid of Ethereum? I'm dropping some really big wisdom here. You guys better be listening. If I ask myself, why am I afraid of Ethereum? Honey, why are you afraid? Well, because and then she starts explaining herself. Lady Fear, if you will, starts explaining herself. Well, because Ethereum's just not performing as well. It's just not doing as well as Solana. The metrics aren't very good. We haven't hit all-time high. The TVL growth is not great. Okay, interesting. Go on. Okay, yeah, and I'm really just kind of worried that Ethereum's not going to perform better than its competitors. I'm really worried its competitors are going to outperform it. Okay, cool. I listened. I understand. Remember, understanding leads to wisdom. I know what you said. I understood what you said, and now I can act wisely based on what you said. A righteous wife, her worth is far above rubies. Who can find her? Proverbs chapter 31. I've listened to the fear. It's made a fair point. Now I'm going to logically consider it. Now we think about it. Husband, logical one, logic brain, come on in. Get to work. What do we do with this? Fear brought up a good concern. Ethereum ain't doing so well compared to its competitors. Is that true? Well, if we look at something like DeFi Llama, I don't know if this website's going to cooperate with me. It actually might do it today. Let's see if it will. Ethereum's TVL, no, it's not going to. I don't know why DeFi Llama hates me. I don't know what it is. Ethereum's TVL is growing a lot slower than its competitors. Its competitors are beating it at its own game. So then because we listen to the emotion, we can start acting with logic, and we can say to ourselves, all right, well, if Ethereum's getting beat at its own game by these competitors that seem to do what Ethereum does, but does it better, then that's where we can start to say, all right, we're going to invest in some of its competitors. And so for me, because I've kind of listened to this and paid attention to the market, and not just shut down my emotions, instead of just barreling forward into more Ethereum investment, I'm slowing down my Ethereum investment, kind of leaving investment in layer ones on pause until I kind of see where this war goes. Is Solana going to come out on top? What's going to happen here? And if Solana starts to look like it's really going to take over Ethereum, then I'm already watching. And so if it starts to move in that direction, then I'm going to start investing more so into Solana. And then I may start divesting some of our position out of Ethereum. And that's because we listened to this fear. We said, what does this fear mean? Where is it coming from? Why is it happening? Is it logical? Is it not? If it is, then what decision should we make? So Ethereum, not too happy with it right now. We kind of talked about Ethereum and Solana at the same time. Solana, I'm more so happy with it right now. It's going through a much larger correction, 55% drop in the last 42 days. Ethereum has gone through a 44% drop in the last 75 days. So comparable drops going on here. Not going to be really buying the dip on ETH. Probably will be buying the dip on Solana. Actually, I already have, because I can see that the writing on the wall might be leading us in the other direction. So the point of today's stream is this. Why are you afraid of Bitcoin? Why are you afraid of cryptocurrency? And what about the bottom? Is the bottom going to be at $73,000 or is the bottom going to be at $82,000? That comes down to whether or not the fear is justified enough to push us all the way down to 73,000 or not. But what I can tell you is that based on historical analysis, if we drop down to 73,000, we could rally up to $130,000 to $160,000. If we stop the bounce here and the bottom was 82,000, then it's very possible that we could even end up bouncing a lot higher than that, maybe $180,000. Jeb, does that make sense? Yeah, it does. If $180,000 Bitcoin would be a $3.5 trillion Bitcoin market, that's very possible. $1 trillion coming into Bitcoin over the next year makes sense. Well, Jeb, has it ever done that before? Yeah, it did it last year. It's happened already. It could happen again. Easy. And so I'm very excited to see where Bitcoin's going to go. I think it's going to perform exceptionally well. and I'd like to see you guys along for the ride. If you have not already, make sure to sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy. We're going to talk a lot more about concepts just like this over in FinSov Academy, getting you guys out of chaos, getting you guys out of the debt, getting you guys to have cash, getting you guys to have investments, getting you guys to build wealth. I want you to succeed, and we're going to help you do that. So sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy. Ton of content coming out over here. 2 videos went out this week, another video going out next week, another video going out the week after. We're shooting a video. We've got a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be community features coming to FinSov Academy before long, so make sure to sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy with the link in the description box down below if you have not already, and do it by Tuesday so you can lock in that $99 a year price point, because it will be gone forever very soon. Very soon. It'll be gone forever. So make sure, if you have not already, to sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy, and let's go learn how to build wealth together. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. Let's read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to wrap it out. ETH already grew last cycle. There's no more room for growth in this cycle. Yeah. Yep. Ethereum fear for me is due to Ethereum's lack of improvement. Exactly, none of you beeswax. And that's a fair reason. So we got to dig more into that. Right? Our fear is our soul, really. It's our soul telling us something's wrong and you need to listen and you need to look into it. Right. When your wife, like, here's a perfect example. I'll say this and we'll wrap it out. I was on a trip with the family. Husband and wife in the front seat, kids in the back. It's a 1-lane dirt road in Gatlinburg, 40-foot sheer cliff on the side. They're driving back towards the main road. So unfortunately, the very fearful wife is sitting there in the passenger seat, and she looks over, she goes, ah! And she just freaks out, right? and so that alerts her husband, oh yeah, there's a giant cliff over there. Hey, hubby, watch out and don't go off of that because we'll all die. So the wife, kind of in that situation, not really consciously doing this on purpose, but what happened is acts as the canary in the coal mine. Husband, leader of our family, there's something dangerous over here. Make sure that that doesn't kill us. And then the husband can act logically and say, I got you. We'll go 2 inches away from the cliff. That's exactly how your soul and your mind and your heart and your brain are acting in tandem if you allow them to. But if you shut down your emotions and you don't listen to them, then they're not going to alert you to something that you should be making a decision about. In the same way that if you're married and you shut down your wife, you're going to be missing a lot of stuff because she's there to point things out to you that you need to be paying attention to. Just like that wife pointed out to the husband, hey, there's a freaking cliff over there. He could have seen it, but he might not have taken it very seriously until he saw his wife was freaked out about it. And then he's like, okay, I do need to take this seriously. We're all going to die if I make a mistake here. You need to pay attention to those emotions because they're trying to lead you well. They're trying to help you make a good decision. Do not shut out your fear. Do something about it so that you don't have to feel it in the first place. Cool. Hope you've enjoyed today's stream. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy with the link in the description box down below. I'm so passionate about this. I want you guys to go through this for your sakes. That's why the price is so low. I want you guys to go through it so that you can succeed in life. And I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good